Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. How are you today? I hope you're having a great day. I decided to have a conversation about failure today because I'm listening to a book. Um, it's easier when you're driving around or when you're commuting, or sometimes when you just want to close your eyes and absorb information to listen to audiobooks. Zig Ziglar called it Automobile University years ago, before we even had audio. He would put them on cassettes so you could play them in your car. And he called it Automobile University, which was really a great idea, I think, because now that I do it in Audible, I learn a lot while I'm driving rather than just listening to stereo or something like that. But it's pretty cool. So this book I'm listening to is called A Tribe of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. And if you don't know who Tim Ferriss is, one of the biggest motivational speakers out there, a young entrepreneur, one of the top 40 under 40 in Fortune magazine. He's investing and an advisor in Uber, Facebook, Spotify, Alibaba, and a bunch of other companies. And he's written a couple books. His first book, The 4-Hour Workweek, pretty cool. I mean, if you read that book, you'll change your perspective on how to achieve things. But the Tribe of Mentors is pretty neat because what Tim did, and he was able to because of his stature, he sent out an email to like 400 people or more. And in that email, he asked them specific questions. What advice would you give someone entering into your field? And all these people were in different genres, different things that they do. Internet, startup companies, big corporations, stock investors, everybody. Now, he didn't get answers from everybody. And guess what? He wasn't worried about that. What he did get was some really cool answers from people who decided they wanted to answer him. And he put this book together. The audio version is read by a couple people, but it's pretty neat because it really dives deep into like the thinking of these people as they work on all of this, as they grow themselves, as they grow their business. And I can't remember who this person was today who was talking about failure, but I was driving in my car. I almost wrecked again because he hit me with something that just blew my mind. He said he doesn't understand why everybody thinks failure is a good thing. And then he said, he said, like everybody says, well, you learn from failure. He said, I prefer to learn from successes. And I'm like, wait a minute. He didn't say the failure was bad, but he didn't say it was good either. He said success was good. He said, I would rather find out what works and just do that than keep doing things that don't work. And he says, and failure only shows you what doesn't work. Admittedly, that means you have to change tactics. So failure just shows you what you're not seeing, your blind spot, right? Failure shows you your blind spots. So let's say that you decide you want to write a book. And you start writing and it's just not working out. You have a blind spot. Something's stopping you from progressing into that. I think there's a book in everybody out there. I really do. I think all of us have a story to share, whether you realize it or not. Look, I'm a 61-year-old former firefighter, and I have a story to share. I have a lot of stories to share. Some of them about life, some of them about what I've learned as a firefighter, some of the things I've learned after being a firefighter, some of the lessons I learned as a firefighter that I translate into where I'm at today. But it's a story. And you know what? It's worth sharing because maybe my story will become a page in someone else's book, or even a chapter for that matter. And maybe I can help save someone else's life. And that's really where I'm at. So he said this about failure, and it struck me. I said, you know what? Like, You don't learn that much from failure. You learn what doesn't work. That's it. That being said, if you let that failure stop you, then you've learned nothing. If that makes any sense. Because all you've learned is that you're a failure, and you're not. That's the neat part. So it's not about what you learn from the failure, per se. It's how you adapt to it and move on from it and grow from the fact that, all right, I won't do that again, but what can I do? Right? What can I do? Not what can't I do? Because I think that's where he was going with it. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. It took him 10,000 tries to invent the light bulb. That's 9,999 failures, if you want to look at it that way. Failures, right? But he didn't stop. And he didn't say, well, he said, what am I going to change? What am I going to do differently this time than I did the last time? And each time he did something differently, and then finally he had success. And then he built on that. Some of the most incredible battles in history are from between Tesla and Edison. Look it up. It's amazing what happened between these two guys. AC/DC. Woohoo! So does failure really teach us anything invaluable? I don't know. But I do know that success teaches us valuable lessons, because it shows us how to continue to be successful. And everything that we read about neuroplasticity, and I don't mean to get deep on you, but neuroplasticity, very quickly, is your brain can be wired by you. So let's say we talk about habits, right? Let's say you have a habit that you want to kick. So every time you feel like you want to do that habit, you divert your attention, you do something else. You divert your attention, you do something else. Eventually, your neural pathways go, well, we don't want to go that way anymore. We want to go the way, because this is what we're doing every day now. So you actually, there's a protein that wraps around the nerves and protects that thought. It's weird stuff, man. It's deep. Stuff they're getting into in the brain today is amazing. So you actually create a super highway in your mind for those thoughts. That makes sense, guys? I hope so. If it does, please make a comment so I know. So it's kind of weird, but you can actually retrain your brain to whatever you want it to be. And the way you don't do that is to say things like, I am. Especially if it's a negative thing. For instance, I am not a morning riser. I am scatterbrained. I can't remember anything. I am, right? If you started turning all that around and started using positive affirmations, and I hate to use the word affirmations because people go, oh, that's new agey. If you say to yourself, I can do that, right? I can do that. And I'll cite an example of that. We call it stop, challenge, choose. You stop yourself, you challenge yourself on the thought you're going to have, and then you choose the direction you want to go. That's how we build habits in. We stop, we challenge, we choose, okay? So me with drinking, okay? Almost killed myself and other people. That's all I'm going to say about that. Not good. But from that, I sat down with me alone, quietly, and thought it out. And I said, will taking a drink get me to where I want to be in life? Now, remember my point of reference here. I have a total car and severe chest pains, okay? It hurt. It hurt a lot. That's the emotional driver. Okay. So I said, you know what? I don't need a drink. I don't need a drink. I don't need a drink. And Joan was away. And when she came home, I sat her down and I said, here's the deal. By that time, I had been like 4 days without a drink. And I said, I have a switch. And I do. I can turn that switch on or I can turn that switch off. My problem is that when the switch is on, there's no regulator on my switch. Drugs, alcohol, food. You want the list? I have no regulator. I did not give myself a regulator. Okay, now I do. So when she came home, I sat her down. I said, that day was the last day I'm ever going to have another drink. Because it doesn't serve me and it doesn't serve you for me to do stupid stuff like that because I like having a drink, but I can't control myself when I do. Well, let's see, what's April? 3 more months, it'll be 4 years. I haven't touched a drink. I've replaced it with other habits that are healthier, better for me, will move me toward my goal. That's what we're talking about. Yes, I had a failure, but I didn't really learn from the failure. I learned that I could be successful from the failure. Does that make sense? I think it does. So that was a really interesting thing. But if you want to check out the book, I'll give you the book again, guys. It's called A Team of Mentors by Tim Ferriss. It's a really long audio book. I'm not even listening to the book. I'm not doing cover to cover on the book. Because I think when I opened it up the first time, it was like 16 hours or something, which is a big book. But when I realized the way it was done, because what he did was when those people answered those questions, he took some of them and he put them in the book. And then, so it's question and answer. And each chapter was like 9-10 minutes tops, which is really neat. So you could sit down for like a half hour, listen to 3 people discuss how their life went forward, and maybe get an insight into what you could do to change your life too. Just a thought. And that's the reason I read it the way I read it, because I just wanted little bites, something to grab onto every day. I hear something that trips a trigger. Today was just an incredible day in there. This one guy was reading some quotes off, and like you can clip things in there. And I hit the clip thing at the beginning of him reading the quotes. And I said, I'll just listen to a couple. And I sat there and I waited. And he kept reading them off, and every one of them was hitting me like a ton of bricks. Bam, bam, like that. I'm going, whoa. I kept the clip going. I now have about a 4-minute clip in this book of this one guy just reading quotes. And I'll share some of them later on, but they were just, every one of them was just like so powerful, so deep, so driving, and so insightful, and the failure one was one of them. And that's what made me go like, whoa. So that's where I'm at. Failure. Don't worry about it. Keep moving. Because guess what? Around the next turn is success. Have a great day. Be blessed. I love you guys. Talk to you.